so many adversities within the car to do great. We've seen him overcome some situations, but I don't think those situations have been anywhere near close to what Lewis Hamilton or Russell have dealt with, or even Lando had dealt with before McLaren got the ball really rolling this season. So we're about to see how this quality is going to go. I believe free practice as I was trying to catch that, coming in off the road. I believe free practice. I'm going to start calling Mercedes like free practice somewhat bosses. They usually tend to do good in free practice. And then as we get into qualifying, aside from last time we saw Lewis Hamilton P3, good job. Podium into pole, even better job. But we're going to see what happens this week. We know that we've seen them struggle with this, not this car, but the variation of the new era of Mercedes car with the ground effects in Austria before, where both Lewis and Russell ran off track and the crowd applauded, which was very trashy. But what else do you expect from a bunch of MV33 fans? That's what's going to happen. MV33 is dirty, dirty, dirty. So that's what it is. Say dirty 3 times. That's MV33. But by the way, while I was out, I had the shirt on, Human Area Champion. And this older lady walks up behind me and she says, "That's a good one." And I agree. So it was very odd. It was very weird. You never know who watches Formula One. I'm probably sure other people probably saw that shirt and was mad about it, but it was very cool for her to acknowledge it and then to agree with it and then to even know what was going on. But it just goes to show there are still plenty of people out there that completely agree with many of you out there that 2021 was not a championship for Max Verstappen. It was indeed a scandal. But as we sit right here, right now, we are 4.3 kilometers, winds due east, 42.8 Celsius on the track temp, 27.4 Celsius on the air temp, and 42% of humidity. Right now, reported 10% possibility chance of rain as we are going across this qualifying session. If that humidity clicks up or ticks up, we could see an increase in that percentage. So we will see what will happen. Yeah. I believe I am pretty turned up. Pretty turned up. I mean, I can check. Yeah, I'm pretty turned up. I'm pretty turned up, brother. I don't know how much more I can turn it up. I mean, but I am pretty turned up. So I think we're good right there. What's going on? What's up, Sylvia with Kelly? In the live chat, see Sylvia with Kelly coming in right there, doing her thing. But yeah, I'll reset that and go from there. But I see Dave. It could be all that machinery that you're working around, man. Working while you're listening to the stream. Hey, that's how you do it, man. Get paid. Get paid when you watch it, when you with the Wolfpack fan. Ain't nothing like that. So what was I talking about? I was talking about the shirts. Appreciate it, Galactus. I was talking about the shirts. So yeah, those shirts will be available on the website soon. It's just a matter of making sure that the material that I want the shirts to be in is available. So yeah, they will be up there soon. So if anybody's looking for those, of course she asked, they will be up soon. So you can check those out. But right now we are pit out. We are active. The clock has started. Now remember how this goes. Progression of this time will come down as the session continues. I believe they're still going to continue that. Did anybody see the Max Verstappen again pit lane shenanigans? I mean, this dude, there was literally, you could see there was no room to try to get around Oscar Piastri. And Max is just trying to find a way to get around when there's no way. Sometimes he does things that just makes people be like, when something happens, it's like, hey, you got what you asked for. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. There's literally no room to get around Piastri right there trying to go out and on track. And he's just bobbing and weaving inside the pit lane, just trying to find a way. I wish he would have went ahead and tried it and knocked his front wing off. And better yet, damaged the McLaren car and then received a grid place penalty. That would have been even better. And then penalty points on his license. That would have been even better because that's probably what it's going to take. But we'll see what happens with that. Right now, Lewis Hamilton out up on top of the boards. We'll see where Mercedes is going to sit when all of this comes due, where they actually sit. Are they going to be competitive this weekend? Is McLaren going to make the same damn mistake that they've made in such a way that I think it's cost them 2 race wins? They overextend staying out, in my opinion. They overextend staying out. I think you did it once, it didn't work. You did it again. Ooh, big oversteer by Lewis Hamilton right there. But as he does, being a great driver, he gathers that up. Butt probably puckered up right there. Probably got a little bit of metal taste in his mouth right there. But yeah, I just think they need to try something different this time around. Don't overextend. Go in with Max and come out with Max as close as you can and run the race from there. You've tried it 2 times the other way and it didn't work. And I'm just a huge believer in it is insanity to try to get a different result while doing the same processes over and over again. McLaren, 3rd time may not be the charm, and maybe it might. Let's see if they do it again this time, if they're going to overextend. I think Lando wanted to talk a bit more about that, but he's very good at protecting his team, as he should be. It is very valuable to respect and protect the morale of your team by not throwing shots and or throwing them under the bus prematurely. Of course, I would believe that if things keep happening, like with Lewis, you got to call him out on the carpet. Lewis has had to finally get to the point where I'm calling y'all out on the carpet so you can be responsible and that people can transparently see that, yeah, you're my problem. You're my problem. And if you don't want people to see that you're my problem, then perhaps maybe you should fix the problem, because I'm done taking it up. And Jolyon Palmer, let me tell you, Jolyon Palmer, shut the hell up. I don't know. I can't say it enough. Jolyon Palmer, shut the hell up. He's always, listen, Lewis Hamilton takes more criticism and more responsibility, so much to the point that it's at a fault that he takes his responsibility. And Jolyon act like, oh, he's just different. What he did was what other drivers do and get tired of it, finally call a team out. But Lewis Hamilton does it. Now it's all, I don't know. Jolyon Palmer, shut the hell up. And you got to remember, Jolyon Palmer explaining his perspective and opinion on Formula One and what he thinks the track is doing and what he feels like they should be doing is talking from a loser aspect. Jolyon Palmer was not a good driver in Formula One. He was barely a driver at all. Barely a driver at all in Formula One. So, yes, more experience than me. But yes, the same amount of accolades as me. Is Jolyon Palmer a Formula One champion? No, neither am I. Is he a race-winning leader? No, neither am I. Is he a pole position stats collecting machine? No, and neither am I. So Jolyon Palmer, while you had the opportunity to be in Formula One, you did less and did little to nothing with the opportunity, while I've never been in Formula One. So my potential is untapped. You have the same accolades, bro. So sometimes listen to Jolyon Palmer, listen to D Rest Ass. Listen to the DC. I credit DC more than any of those other two, but still, what'd you really do? Like, how far could you really push the envelope? That's sometimes what you got to know. Max Verstappen at the top of the charts. This is Red Bull's home GP. Max Verstappen is at top 105. This track to me is what I call the Formula One NASCAR track. This is the NASCAR track of Formula One. It is, to me, just a circle pushed in, which you can say that about a lot of circles, but this track to me is just, it is nothing much to it. It's a very short track. Yeah, to me, it's the NASCAR track of Formula One, in my opinion. I'm never really too overly excited about when they come here, besides for the point that they did change up some sections on the track, and now track limits has some penalty aside from being overlooked at times. If you get too wide out there at track limits, you're going to pick up that kitty litter. All right. The other thing is, I believe that they are running the AI system to determine, there it is right there, getting taxed right there on the track limits, Lewis Hamilton. And I like this. I absolutely like this attribute. We were talking about this last season, and I said I would like to see more of that and our turf, our grass. I would like to see more of that and our grass, because it is undeniable that you are going to penalize yourself by running over track limits. you're going to penalize yourself. You're going to lose speed. You're going to ruin your tires. All right. And I like that. I think that that's a good thing to have on the track. So we're going to see, by the way, the AI does not have the ability to disqualify anybody. It's going to collect the data. It's going to give them the indication or the signals that they are exceeding track limits. And then from there, we got to trust the stewards to still do the job that they should be doing, when a lot of times we know they don't do the job that they should be doing. So that's another big part of that. And we'll see how that actually turns out. Other than that, we're right now a minute and 40 seconds in from SQ1. Right now, drivers in jeopardy of not making it are Alonso, Albon, Ricardo, Hamilton, and Zhou, with very little time left, but still enough time left to change your future and going into SQ2. So we'll also see how that goes. If Hamilton gets knocked out, I'm not going to be overly surprised. I don't expect for him to, but that runoff taxed him. And you see where Russell is. Russell right now is in number 2. Max Verstappen in number 1. And Sainz is in 3rd. Ferrari definitely looking like they might be returning to old form Ferrari, which is sad because, one, I would think that after multiple seasons, they do better. Mary Beanie says Jonathan Palmer was 100% better than his son, Jolyon Papa. Stroll needs a brain scan, giving Lance a contract. He is not good enough for F1. Go Lewis. Mary Beanie, when I saw that shit, when I saw that news break, and I sat there and I really thought at first, I said, this is not real. This is probably something fake. It's real. This is really real. This is nepotism at its best. And it's not the only thing that happened this week where somebody who doesn't deserve the opportunity at this level to get it. JJ Redick has never coached an NBA team. I don't even think he's coached a high school team. He may have been a rec ball coach, and he gets a multi-million-dollar deal as an NBA coach of the LA Lakers. Does anybody want to say white privilege? I'm just keeping it real. You got Sam Cassell with a lot of experience. You had Ty Lue with a lot of experience plus a championship, and you lowballed him purposely not to give him a deal. And you give JJ Redick with no NBA experience whatsoever? Oh my gosh. It's like, people, Lance Stroll does not deserve a contract. That's nepotism. Just because you can afford it doesn't mean you should. What about the rest? I'm going to do a whole nother episode about that. We'll talk about that. That's somewhere else. Right now, we're out 0 seconds. At this point in time, Lewis Hamilton barely makes it out of SQ1. He gets up into 13th. Ricky Retire Ricardo. That's maybe what we should call him. Triple R. Ricky Retire Ricardo is 16th and looks like he's going to be out of there. I did pay attention when that time lapsed because I was talking to you all about nepotism and privilege. But we're about to see if that is going to pace. But Ricardo's out of there. Hulk is out of there. The entire Sauber Kick F1 team is out of there. And Albon is out of there while Logan Sargent goes on to SQ2. Let me give you some props where props are due. Logan Sargent, it's about damn time. It's about time. If you don't go any further than SQ2, buddy, that's an accomplishment in itself for you. Now, not in the grand scheme of things, but for you, okay, to get into SQ2. This might speak to Logan Sargent needing to go to NASCAR, maybe even IndyCar, as it is being softly reported that he may find himself in IndyCar next year. If he doesn't find himself in IndyCar, you don't have to worry about it. He's not going to be in Formula One again. He's going to be somewhere else for sure. All right, so that's definitely going to be happening. Yuki spinning all out. Yuki is very fortunate to be in SQ2 as well. Only thing that puts Yuki in SQ2 is the fact that Danny Rick did worse. And that's been pretty much what has been majority of the season. So we're going to see what Yuki does coming up in SQ2. We're going to see what Hamilton does coming up in SQ2. And by the way, Lance Stroll outperforming Alonso, number 5 to number 12 position. Ferrari scattered right now from 3 to 7th. And some would say Leclerc being in 7th maybe is not the ideal arrangement that people would think should be, with Leclerc being the supposed number 1 driver. But I told you all, I think Sainz has proven through action and performance that he's more of a number 1 driver type than Charles is. Not to say that Charles can't get there. He's young. He's got a lot of time. He's going to be training or be in pair and in tandem with the GOAT next season. There's a lot to learn there. And there's a lot of opportunity for Charles's ability and his acumen to increase to become a better driver. So we'll see how that growth goes. Ocon in 9th, while Gasly locking in 11th. Gasly getting extended with Alpine. Congratulations to Gasly on that. We'll talk about that too. We're gonna have I'm probably gonna do one where we talk about these contracts because it's crazy. And Russell number 2. So Pia is number 6, a bit closer to Lando. They're trying the new front wing. See how that's going to be working out for them. So right now, let me turn on fandom. So what do we have on the speed traps? Speed traps, we got Stroll, number 1 in Sector 1. Sainz, number 1 in Sector 2. Russell, number 1 at the finish line. And Perez at the speed trap at number 1. So all different teams across the board in the top positions of the speed trap board, leaderboard. And Max Verstappen in 3 different teams, actually 5 different teams still in the top 5 for coming out of SQ1 going into SQ2. And I would like to also point that out. That is also something that is good to see. We are starting to have more of a mix of drivers and teams in these top positions rotating in and out. That to me is a good indicator that teams are closing the gap. Teams are understanding more about the philosophy of their direction and their car, and they're extracting the performance out of these designs now. So I think that that's awesome to see. Even if we had a team locking in somewhere in the top 5, still, you got Red Bull, you got Mercedes, you got Ferrari, you got McLaren, and you got Aston Martin in the top 5. All 3 different drivers, all 5 different teams, all 5 different drivers, all 5 different teams. So I think that's cool. I think that's cool to see. I think that's what we want to see, a mix-up. We don't know. Now, I want to know what Mercedes is about to do to get Lewis Hamilton's car back on deck. We got the clock reset at 10 minutes going into SQ2. The new elimination barrier or area has been set. Right now, as it sits, if time had elapsed, your drivers, Gasly, Alonso, Hamilton, Sargent, and Yuki would all be out. Again, several different teams. No repeat there except for in SQ1. We had a repeat with Sauberkick F1, which I told you, they're going to become non-existent by the time the end of the year comes. They're going to just fade out. They're going to fade out to white. You're not going to notice them. They won't even be white noise. It would just be a blank canvas, and you just think something needs to go there. But actually, if you took some lemon, squeezed it across the canvas, and took a lighter, you might find out this Sauberkick F1 is there. That's what you're going to have to do in order to even recognize that they're around, because they're not doing anything noteworthy right now. Nothing noteworthy, in my opinion. All right, that's my opinion. So right now, 24 laps for the sprint race. 24 laps. Now let's see if Yuki can get out of SQ2 and into SQ3. That was a very bad spin that he just had. So hopefully he doesn't do that again, because I'm pretty sure that wasn't good on the tires. Alonso, I don't worry about Alonso. If something does happen, it happens. But Alonso's I'm pretty confident in the point that he'll come into this session and improve further. And then what we may see is that crossover where Stroll goes this way, Alonso goes that way, Stroll goes more toward the bottom, Alonso goes more to the top. We'll see how that happens. Piastri, I want to see Piastri completely improve throughout this entire weekend. I want to see Piastri at the top. I want to see him in the top 5. I don't want to see him outside of the top 5. And I know this is what I want, but what I'm saying is I think that he should be. If he's not, I got to start wondering, are we now starting to see a sophomore slump kick in late with Piastri, or are we just seeing a driver, which still would be like a sophomore slump, getting used to different circuits, different car, not being able to completely perform his best at every circuit, maybe because it doesn't fit well with his characteristics and he hasn't learned how to adjust himself yet. But either way it goes, there's something that's going to be noteworthy there for Piastri. If we start seeing him have more of this gap, whereas before and we saw him more toward the top, very close to Lando sometime having to big bro him, that to me is going to be noteworthy. What I make of that note, I won't know yet until the full body of work develops and I see what it may be or what it may not be. So I'll wait. I'll wait for that. Right now, 8 minutes left on this clock. 8 minutes left on this clock. We are now 5.4 kilometers due northwest, changing from east to northwest. 43.4 Celsius on the track, 27.6 Celsius on the air, and 41% on humidity. I think we were at 42 earlier, so it ticked down. So maybe not rain coming. We'll see if that continues to go down or go up. And from there, we'll see how that is. Right now, watching Verstappen, come on down, come on down. He's getting ready to lay this lap. We're going to see what he's going to lay. Looking pretty good, though. Segments are looking pretty good. This looks like this sector 2 is going to be a purple sector. So we're going to check and see how that goes. Lewis Hamilton now in the top 10, so that's confidence built right there. That I'm telling you, that whole kitty litter visit messed him up, and that's what I do like about it. You exceed track limits, and that's going to penalize you. You're going to penalize yourself. So Russell going back up to number 2. Russell back up to number 2. You got to excuse my energy level. Trust me, I've been through it. This entire weekend has been really, really rough. So, Perez at number 2. Perez finally trying to act like the Red Bull car is one of the best cars made. Popping up to number. Lando not going away. That's what a 0.097 of a gap right there. Sainz coming up to number 2, but nobody's taking that number 1 spot. Again, Max Verstappen, 105.186. Nobody's taking that spot yet. Is somebody going to take it? Can somebody take it? Can we see somebody change out there before SQ3 comes? Can we see somebody actually throw that car in there? Piastri. There you go. Going into number 2. That's what I like to see. That's what I want to see from my dog. Piastri's my other driver. Hamilton now in the top 5. But Max still has the fastest time. Russell again with that ceiling of number 2, but being there. And I do mean that right there is crazy. Ferraris are coupled together at 4 and 5. Let's see what Lewis Hamilton will do on his next lap. Lando will do on his next. He's going to try to crawl up there and sun Piastri like he has before when it comes to them deciding what car these drivers are going to, what these drivers are going to get and how they're going to apply certain things. So we'll see how that goes. So Perez falls down fairly fast. Ocon in the top 10, while Gasly is in the 12th. Got his money, got his extension, and now he is underperforming. I'm waiting for him to come out so we can see something. K-Mag, Gasly, Alonso, Sargent, and Yuki all sitting in. I'm waiting for them to come out. Maybe they're going to wait until other drivers come in at around this time, 5 to 4 minutes. Other drivers will make their way in to start making adjustments and then go back out on track with probably 2 or less minutes remaining. Maybe we're going to see K-Mag, Gasly, Alonso, Sargent, and Yuki get ready to power up, head out onto the track, less traffic, which means maybe less impeding up on their laps. Maybe somebody can sneak in a pretty good lap right there and knock one into the top 10. We'll see how that goes as well. Russell looking to go back out on track. No driver is not trying to get on that front row for real. I'm telling you, this track limits is the bomb. This track limits is the bomb. I like this. I absolutely like this. They should start incorporating this around more circuits. This is the bomb. This is what I think should happen at damn near all the circuits. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell he's talking about. Are they weighing Lewis Hamilton? We'll see what that car weighs. Now, what they need to do is check that damn plank because we don't want to see any more of that. They need to check that plank. That is what they need to do. Right now, 3 minutes and 37 seconds. Yuki, K-Mag, Gasly, Alonso, and Logan Sargent are out. They need to make sure they check that plank, make sure it's going to be in compliance or it's going to be within spec. Woo, Max Verstappen hugging that line not to take it over up. And then there he goes, drops the tire right there into the corner. So that's going to impact his lap. Not so much that he's already at the top, but I'm sure he wants to extend that a bit more as he knows these next few sessions that are going to be coming. Drivers are going to be trying to dial it in. Also, a bit of engine or PU problems in SP1 for Red Bull. Some trying to wonder what maybe they have been doing with their engines, trying to decide where those need to be and if Max Verstappen might be in penalty trouble, which could be very, very highly possible. And that, if he takes it this early, that's going to be crazy for the rest of the season, especially if we keep seeing more indication of problems like that. So that could be an issue. We got 2 minutes and 20 something seconds left in SQ2 before we go into SQ3. Right now, if the time were to elapse, K-Mag, Gasly, Alonso, Sargent, and Yuki would all be disqualified. And I actually want to see Yuki do better than that, but maybe he's not going to be able to. But I would like to see him do better than that. Anybody else, I'm kind of cool with whatever they do. There is Yuki to 11. Okay, let's go, Yuki. All right, so all the big dogs right now are in. All the big dogs are in. All the little pups are out, trying to live up their life on track right now till the big dogs come back out. We're going to see what those big dogs are going to lay down. And those big dogs I am talking about, Max Verstappen, Russell, Pia, Sainz, Leclerc, and Hamilton, all in that top 10 area, seeing what they're probably going to do. As right now, we have 1 minute and 27 seconds. Gasly, Alonso, Sargent, Yuki, and K-Mag are on the risk of being completely eliminated. So they're just swapping out elimination positions right now, although being in 11th is better than being in 15th. So there's something to be said about that. So we'll see where they actually end up. Also, Ocon and Gasly, not much movement. So I'm not sure. Oh, okay. When I say that, Ocon goes up to number 9 from number 10, and Stroll shifts down to number 10. And this is what I told you might start happening. If Stroll switches into 12 or 13, that is probably likely where he'll stay for the remainder of the session. There it is. Stroll falling back again. Now both Alpine cars are in SQ2, looking like they may go into SQ3. Both Aston Martin cars looking to possibly be eliminated right now. Elimination. 23 seconds remaining. 23 seconds remaining. Lewis Hamilton 6, Russell 2, Pia 3, Lando 7. So just kind of note that they can't be juxtaposed of each other. And the next thing you know, roles could flip. Hamilton could be number 2, 3. Maybe we get a Mercedes second row lockout between those two drivers, which would kind of be cool to see. Ferrari is still stuck together at 4 and 5. I'm wondering if that's where they're going to be during the race. Hopefully not. A lot of people hoping to see plenty from Ferrari this season, given that they are receiving the GOAT in Lewis Hamilton next season. So see how that also goes. Logan Sargent may not make it into SQ3. So it's good that he made it into SQ2 as accomplishment for him, but he might not make it into SQ3. I'm just that doesn't look like it's gonna happen, but you never know. Just maybe. But I doubt it. I doubt it. He's definitely still out of here. There's nothing that there is something Logan Sargent could do if he wants to stay around. Logan Sargent could win 3. If he wins 3 GPs this season before the season's out, they will give him another contract. That's not happening. Not happening. It's definitely not happening. I'm trying to tell you right now, Logan Sargent is not doing so. All right, the time is done. The time is out. You are done. Checker flag has been out. 10:59 is the time 1 minute ago. And right now, K-Mag, all of Aston Martin is out of there. Yuki and Sargent are out of there. So Alpine is out of there. AlphaTauri, Red Bull Visa Cash App is out of there. Saint Sam's is out of there. He's out of there. So Sainz going to be in 4. Leclerc's going to be in 5. Stroll and Alonso are out of there. K-Mag's out of there. But Sainz is in number 4. Leclerc's in number 5. So Ferrari is up there. And splitting the Mercedes cars on one butt end of that, and then at the top, just underneath Max Verstappen, is Russell. Can they bring that closer together? Can perhaps Mercedes do something to improve that position? Logan Sargent trying to get some of those pats on the back like, good job, Logan. You're still fired. You're still fired. You have done not enough, bro, to stay here. So, Logan Sargent 15th. That's better than 20th. I'm just going to keep it real because that's been where he has been living, in 20th. He has been living in 20th for a very long time, and that is where he has been staying. That's where he's been finishing, and it's just been absolutely horrible. So I'll take that 15. I'll take that 15th position for Logan Sargent and go out on that with my flip-flops. I'm very cool with that. I think that's cool. Alex Albon talking about his 19th. We have 0 seconds still on the clock. We are 1.1 kilometers an hour due north now. We were east, northeast. Now we're north, 43.9 Celsius, 28 Celsius on air, 40%. We're ticking down again from 42 to 40 to 41. So that is pretty good. And then he sounds so disappointed. He sounds so disappointed. Albon sounds so disappointed. I'm kind of disappointed for him. I'm like, this is not the Albon we typically hear. You know, Albon is typically a little bit more upbeat. He's been a little bit frustrated lately, but he's definitely a little bit low beat right now, going out that early. I don't know what Williams has in store or are in position for him. I don't know where Carlos is going to go, who's going to be Albon's next teammate, but he does sound a little bit down right now. Williams, I don't even want to put it on Williams. I just think this track, the way it's set up now, track limits, I think it's giving some of these drivers a fit. I think it's playing its role right now, and I think it's earning its place to stay this way in this configuration, at least for the traps, the gravel traps. Now, as far as the configuration of the track, maybe they change that, maybe they don't. But as far as the gravel traps, I think it's absolutely awesome what it's doing, how it impairs the drivers, and how it punishes them by their own sword. You know, so I'm definitely in for that. I'm not mad at that at all. I think that was actually a very good move to do. But right now, Williams at 19, and right now you'll see the list go dark. We are now top 10, 8 minutes on the clock, 3.2 kilometers due northwest, 43.6 Celsius on the track, 27.9 Celsius in the air, and 39% humidity. We are just ticking down, which means the percentage of rain should start ticking down as well. They should be very synonymous with each other, so we'll see how that goes. Alpine, I like the Alpine livery. I really do. I like the Alpine livery. They just got to do better, put the money in better places, and make improvements. So we'll see how that goes. And Gasly's I think Gasly was just saying all the right stuff as far as the gallery. I think he's just saying all the right stuff. Gasly just says all the right stuff just to kind of make himself seem like the team player. And I mean, where else was Gasly gonna go? Where else was Gasly gonna go? Where was he gonna go? Was he about to go to Haas? He wasn't going to Red Bull Visa Cash App. He definitely wasn't going to Red Bull. For sure not Ferrari. Damn sure not Mercedes. Damn sure not McLaren. I mean, so when Gasly talks the way he's talking like that to me in the being very, very appreciative of having a job. Because technically, he damn near could be like Ocon and not have a job. Gasly, I know a lot of people feel like, oh, Gasly still got room to improve. Everybody's got room to improve, but Gasly's had enough time to show you if he's really going to be able to improve, and he hasn't. To me, he's just not. He's not. His ceiling is there. His ceiling is there. This is what Gasly is. This is what he's going to be. Maybe he gets a better car and does a smidge better, but to me, Gasly's not a phenomenal driver. He's not a phenomenal Formula One driver. Let me say that. Maybe he'd be a phenomenal other series car driver, but he's not a phenomenal Formula One driver. DG Big Blue says Sir Lewis Hamilton is back to being 2/10 behind George Russell. Yes. And you know what's crazy is that 2/10 can still be several positions from another driver. That's what's crazy. And that also shows how much these teams and these cars and these drivers have closed the gap to one another, especially with Red Bull. Red Bull is the days that we have said, and I've said it plenty of times, seen 19 plus seconds of gap in races is no more. That is gone. That is out of there. We are so far away from that right now. I mean, not really so far, but we are far removed from that right now. I don't think it's coming back. And if it does come back, kudos to Red Bull for actually finding another way to re-innovate this platform and make it that much more dominant where other teams will closing the gap. I'd have to salute Red Bull for that. Finding it, as long as they didn't breach the cost cap, as long as they didn't cheat, we know Red Bull. Right? We know Red Bull can do these things. We know they can do these things. So, all right, this is where the chips get pushed to the center of the table. This is for the sprint race. Right now, your top 10 drivers in Verstappen, Russell, Pia, Sainz, Leclerc, Hamilton, Norris, Perez, Ocon, and Gasly, all of Alpine at the butt end. And let me say something about being on the butt end. The butt end of bread makes a pretty good sandwich. It does make a pretty good sandwich. It makes a very compact sandwich. It makes a less airy sandwich. It's really dense. You get that dense butt end and front bread. You put that turkey or salami or ham or whatever you want to put on there and just load it. And that is a very dense sandwich. So sometimes being at the butt end of the top of the echelon is not necessarily that bad. So right now we got two butts in Alpine, two butt pieces of bread. If you, the next time you get a loaf of bread and you got those ends, make a sandwich out of that and tell me that, you know what, there is something to having a sandwich without so much airy bread in it. This was actually very good. I'm telling you, just try it. And then even so much, heat it up. Put it in a pan. Put some butter on that sucker. Just try it. Just make a melt. Just make it. Just try it. All right, we got 5 minutes and 40-something seconds. Drivers are playing the game right now. It's all about sitting and waiting. They're going to sit and wait here until probably 2 minutes is on the clock. And then they're going to head out on track, maybe 3 minutes and some seconds. Then they're going to head out on track, try to nail down some of these laps, and we're going to see who's going to have it. Right now, Max Verstappen has very strongly been holding on to that number one position. And I will say this again, because I will say it plenty of times. I do not believe the format for the sprint races is what it should be. I believe the sprint race should be more about making it competitive in its act and competitive in spirit and morale for teams. I think bottom teams or bottom drivers should be in the sprint. They're really going to fight it out. Right now, all we really have is a double dipping of top teams just getting more points to further extend themselves out. I would like to see lower tier teams be in here. So what I am saying is the bottom 5 teams, their drivers go into the sprint. The other drivers have a standard qualifying format. The drivers here are going to set the grid for 11 to 20. The other will set the grid from 1 to 10, and bam, there we go. That is what I think it should be. I think the sprint format is flawed. I don't think it breeds good competition. I don't even think it's that entertaining. I don't think we've seen very few sprint races that have been like, yo, that sprint race was damn good. We've seen more qualifying events be more entertaining than sprint races, even some of these races, honestly, even some of these GPs. So they definitely need to readdress the sprint format. 3 minutes and 50 something seconds. Drivers are still sitting in the pit. Alpine, right now, the only team to have revs built up on the car. Gasly's car going straight zero neutral. Now we finally have Ferrari. We finally have McLaren. RPM is built up. All the other cars are starting to come alive. I told you 3 minutes and something seconds. It's going to be time to start heading out on track. It is 3 minutes and 34 seconds, and they will start getting ready to go out here and nail these laps down, lining up in pit lane to go out here and find out who is going to get pole position for the sprint race to have the ability to collect more points and further extend themselves or close the gap up to who else is further out there. So, hey, this is what we live for right here. The sprint race might not be as interesting. I'm just keep it a buck. The sprint race might not be as interesting, but qualifying could be very interesting. We're going to see how they nail this out. And we're going to see if, again, this race, will McLaren actually have the better car? They might not have it this time. These situations with McLaren, they might find themselves in a situation where we missed out on several opportunities to really take the fight to Max Verstappen and Red Bull because we chose to keep doing the same insane crap. Russell on the radio. Hamilton is pit out. All right, here we go. Mercedes doing their thing. Silver arrows coming out of the garage. Still something about silver arrows coming out of the garage. But this new black silver arrow, I think this combination of livery for Mercedes should be a lock. I think that should be a lock. I think it is a very good flow. I think it's a very good combination of the color schemes. I think it represents the traditional silver arrows on Mercedes, yet the very aggressive, bold looking black livery of Mercedes, which by far is probably one of the best liveries other than Alfa Romeo. Williams had one, and McLaren's had a couple. McLaren's had a few nice, tough liveries, but I think this should be where they lock it in. Maybe every now and then they have a variation, but I think this overall color scheme, the silver, the Petronas blue, the black, I think this is where Mercedes needs to go ahead and sit down and say, hey, this is our color scheme. We can change here and there. Russell on radio. Yeah, it's going to be definitely tight on time. Like I said, they were going to be coming out 2 minutes, and there it is, 1 minute and 27 seconds. Drivers are out on track. We're getting ready to see if the top 10 are going to do what they should be doing, which is battling it out for pole position. We'll see how well this is going to go. Max Verstappen, can he still hold this pole position with the ironclad fist as he has been doing for SQ1 and SQ2? He only has to do it one more time to be unanimous right now. Russell's still creeping up there in that number 2 spot. Hamilton to the top of the charts. Let's go, Ham coming out. That's what I'm talking about. Russell going to the top. Let's see it. Let's rock. Let's rock. I would like to see this, even though we don't have enough time to see a battle like this back and forth, back and forth. I would have liked to see this had they come out 5 minutes and we got to see cars just shooting it out, making this happen. They're kind of almost running like one-shot quality, giving each other a lot of room the way they're coming out on track. This is nice, though. Where's Verstappen? He's getting ready. He's a few segments off from closing out Sector 3. We're going to see where this puts him. Sainz goes up to number 3. Piastri goes to number 2. Russell is in number 1. That is one hell of a fine lineup if it starts with Hamilton in 4th. Verstappen doing what he does. 13 seconds left on the clock. Bow to the top of the charts. But Russell, may I note, look at how far behind he is. He's not that far behind. 083 gifting a Wolfpack membership, and Michael Dixon scoops that up. You already know Michael Dixon. You've been there several. Hamilton! Woo! Is that going to be pole position? Is that going to be pole position? No, Russell takes it. Oh, my gosh. Mercedes trading out pole positions. That could be crazy. Where's Verstappen going to be? Because I think he finished in enough time. Pia! That's my dog. That's my dog. Pia grabbing a pole position. Norris, this is awesome. This is what we like to see. These are the things we like to see. Now is Max Verstappen going to bring it up and cap it off? Again, Sainz not making the top of the charts, but getting himself in the top 5 right there. Leclerc outside of the top 5 at number 7. Max Verstappen goes back to the top with a 104, letting people know this is Red Bull's home track. I'm locking it in. There it is. Crazy right there. That was nice. In the short amount of time, we got a bang of excitement right there. That was nice. Yo, and that is it. Checkered flag has dropped. We're going to have Verstappen in a second row lockout of Team Papaya. Russell in 4th, Sainz in 5th, Hamilton in 6th, and Leclerc sitting at the bottom at 10th. Top 10 still. Not what I would like to see from Charles, but there you go. McLaren again showing that they are here. Now, they got to do something with this. Piastri's already won a sprint race before. He's won a sprint race before. McLaren has to do something with this. They need to make it happen. It would be crazily awesome and lividly lit for McLaren to dethrone Red Bull and Max Verstappen at their home GP. For McLaren to fly papaya colors, winning the race, sitting McLaren up at the top of the podium, and sitting Max Verstappen and Red Bull on the lower steps. That would be crazy. That would be nice, all right? So listen, that is it for sprint quali. I ain't gonna lie. I gotta go. I gotta go just chill for a second before I start working on this kart. We got a race this weekend, which means I gotta get the race car prepared, gotta get the tires switched out, gotta get the clutch off, get that cleaned out. It's a lot of stuff to do. I still gotta return the rental car. So yes, but I didn't want to miss being here with the fam. At least right now, we'll be back again Sunday. Don't quite think I'm gonna make it tomorrow because there's a lot of going on with the race, travel, all this other stuff. But big shout out to you all. Big shout out to 083 again, dropping Wolfpack memberships right there in the chat. Michael Dixon picking that up. Michael Dixon, get active. Michael Dixon, if you really want to thank 083, continue your membership. Don't let it just lapse. I've seen you get a few memberships by 083, Sylvia Wick, Galactus, OG Zilla. I've seen you get a few memberships. Continue your membership. Continue your membership and get in the Discord, all right? That's the ultimate way to thank your fam for gifting you something and you taking that up, all right? So with that being said, Wolfpack is about to be out. I will see you all soon. We are in Austria. We'll see how this race goes. Peace and love. I'm out.